Tai Chi Walk coming forward. Hands at your waist. Okay, real strict now, okay? So those of you who already know how to do Tai Chi Walk, this is a good time for building stamina, muscle strength, but also defining your movements a little bit better, okay? Good Tai Chi posture, dropping those shoulders, pivot with your right heel out, walk in that zigzag right direction, shift your weight out on an L, straight or on a line, move the energy from the flat of your right foot all the way through your shoulders, down, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist out, walk in that left zigzag, shift your weight, heel, move the energy all the way through the system, bow stance. Knee not be on your toe, back knee not locked. Sit back, sit down, zigzag to the right, shift your weight, heel, turn the hips and waist, move the energy, bow stance. Sit back, sit down on that imaginary, exaggerate your movements, twist out, walk in that left zigzag, heel, move the energy across the hips and waist, shoulders down. Sit back, sit down, alleviating the weight of the right, twist out, zigzag in that direction, heel, turn the hips and waist, move the energy, flatten down, bow. Okay, so everything has to be well defined. Everything has to be done to the T. No, nothing in between. As you do this, you should realize and feel that if you do it fully, the energy that you store can now be a power horse to move you into the next position. If you do it only, store the energy only slightly or halfway, it does not give you that energy that you need to move into the next sub-movement. Sit back, sit down, zigzag to the right as if you're walking in that direction, heel, turn the hips and waist, move the energy through your core, down. Okay, one more and then we're going to turn around and go back. Sit back, sit down, making that fully and insubstantial, zigzagging to the left, heel, turn the hips and waist, power that energy to a bow stance. Sit back, sit down, all right? Now stay down. So this is down. This is not down. This is down. Can you lower yourself a little bit more so that the knee of the left foot is bent and you can say, wow, that really aches me. I'm going to cheat and come up. But we want to really establish down a little further to give no weight to the front foot. Why? So that the power that we store can then go through the system and apply to the next in a very good alternating pattern, okay? From this position, we're going to step and turn towards the road and go back and do Tai Chi Walk, okay? Face the road. Turn around and face the road. Okay, hands at your waist. Really good, better, okay? Pivot out, walk in the right, shift your weight, heel, turn the hips and waist, L, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, zigzag to the left, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, zigzag to the right, 2 hips there, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, zigzag to the left, heel, move the energy through the system, bow. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, zigzag to the right, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, zigzag to the left, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow. Sit back, sit down, last one, zigzag out, walk in that right, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow. Okay, good. So I can see that you're doing your best and it's pretty good. It's not a profile, but I'm trying to help you correct your back. What happens is that what I'm doing is what I consider correct, okay? But now I'm going to do something wrong. You see that I went back a little bit more just because my forward foot, watch again. Okay, I'm going to do it wrong, okay? But watch what happens, why you will detect why it's wrong. Do you see that? Okay. Yeah, you saw that? Okay, watch now, but I might be exaggerating, but this is correct, where you keep your posture. No matter where you're going, this curvature of this back stays the same, straight up, okay, straight up. But what I see is this, when you step down, this guy goes back slightly. In both situations, in both cases, I don't know whether it's something I see from where I am, but try to check that. So everybody else too now, okay? So, yeah, you say, I know I never arch my back. So arching your back would be something like this, right? You'd arch the back to come back. But even anything in between should always keep the posture. If this is my posture and I'm sitting back, the posture just actually keeps the same formation. All it does is drops down. But it's easy to then advance, and because you're advancing and you want to compensate for that advance, don't compensate for it. Just keep that posture the same. Do not adjust this back. So, easier said is to understand is this way. Once you establish your Tai Chi posture and you know that's the curvature you need for your back, do not adjust it, no matter what you're doing on the top. And something that will help you is that this area here, the hip area, or what they refer to as the gua, that's the stuff that directs your movement. It's powerful. But how does it help you is that you use this as a means of directing by storing. Do not use the storage of your spine. That spine is already created and established. But this is the guy that can turn. This is the guy that can come down, come up, and turn, but never the back, never the spine, okay? Or never the curvature once you start it.
Just to remind us, hip joints are rotatory joints. They're made to do this. Knee joints are hinge joints. They're made to do this. So do with this, use this, whether it be this or up and down. Don't expend your knees, but you can use the knees for up and down, okay? You just gotta somehow figure that out in your body, and that has to do with when you get into or try to maintain Tai Chi posture, okay? I just sit down, and the body, the upper part of the body remains the same. I go forward, the upper body remains the same. But if I don't bend this, then you have a tendency to do this.
Okay, so we're built so that everything bears on every portion of our body. So yes, over time, things become a little bit more, not as flexible, but what we're trying to do is readdress that and to be able to flex a little bit more. There was something I was going to say. Shifting of weight is important, because how can shifting of weight, if we don't shift our weight to store, we then will compensate and use our upper body and not our shifting of our weight to propel ourselves. So in Tai Chi, there are patterns. Only the weightless foot can advance. But in order for that foot to be weightless, we're going to have to gather that energy and we have to sit back to store. Then the more you can store, the more that comes through your system that you can propel. But if you cannot sit back as much as you should, then what happens? So you only say you can only sit this way. You only have that portion to then extend forward. But if you go back and you sit down a big amount, You have that much more to then extend. That's what we're getting at, okay, to look at it visually. It's, remember when you first came to Tai Chi, you said, wow, this is so hard. This is the stuff that's hard, okay? The stuff that you went through was hard, and now it's easy for you. Now you have to go back down, go back in time and say, no, this is something that I have to refine and correct, because now my body cannot do some of that, but I'm going to teach it that it can. And that's the training and that's the discipline that we gain from doing Tai Chi.
Just another thing about sitting back, or sometimes she'll refer to as sinking. Basic physiology, you're up here, you are not as stable. A couple things happen. We all wobble, and as we get older, this is what we call, we're wobbling. And our physiology is trying to say, stop that. One way to sort of semi-stop that is you drop. Two things happen. One, you get more stable. You are aware of your feet more, your footing. You're up here, it's slightly less. So try that. Just from here, go down. What happens? Where do you feel the weight? It drops to your knees, drops to your feet. That's stability. Now, we're using Tai Chi, but what do we want to do? We want to be able to walk or stand in a stable way from a day-to-day purpose, day-to-day. So if we keep walking around straight-legged, we're going to have more wobble, and you get less emphasis of your feet, versus if you're a little bit in your Tai Chi posture, and when you walk, I shift my weight, and as I shift, I not only just shift straight-legged, I shift and drop. What happens is it goes down, you feel it, you gain more power, you gain more stability. And then you say, well, I got to walk, so you get off of that, but this is controlled. The next step can go anywhere. You've seen me sort of do this. That's what I'm trying to say. Once you're stable, the next movement is your call and under your control. And until you release this, you are as stable as you're going to get.
Okay, so another thing is that you have your center of gravity, and good that you know where it is, but that center of gravity can also be lowered. So that could apply to what Ken just said, meaning that you need to sit down, sit back, so you gain more strength in your feet. You'll feel heavier, but that center of gravity can go down, can move down, okay, but still in the center of you.